Okay, so I wanted to do a video on what to expect after a breakup with a narcissist. And all of these things will most likely happen to you. I think it's important that you kind of know what you're in for. So when these things do start happening, it doesn't totally derail you, okay? So there's quite a few things here. I'm gonna run through them. If you have any questions, you always feel free to email me. You can chat me up on YouTube. You can leave comments here. I will get back to you, or on my website, narcissistsupport.com, or on my support group, which is on Facebook. It's also called Narcissist Support. I'll put that info down in the description area. So after a breakup with a narcissist, probably first and foremost, you're going to have a really hard time emotionally, especially if you didn't see it coming, right? So prepare yourself for night terrors, nightmares that are so bad about you missing them. You might wake up screaming. You might wake up crying. You might not be able to sleep at all. You might find yourself sleeping way too much. You're probably going to just fall into somewhat of a depression around this time. For me, I had a really hard time even getting out of bed. I had to tell myself, okay, Dana, we're doing this. Right foot out of the bed, left foot out of the bed, march your body into the shower. Like, I just was shutting down at such a level I just didn't expect either one of my covert narcissists. I didn't expect those relationships to end. I definitely didn't expect them to end in the way that they did. I had a really hard time with that. I highly recommend, if you're starting to feel this way, if you're having a tremendous amount of anxiety, it's not uncommon for victims to have anxiety attacks, kind of unprovoked throughout the night, throughout the day. A lot of people experience PTSD from these types of relationships. It's incredibly traumatic. What you went through was traumatic, even if you didn't experience emotional abuse or physical abuse. Like in my situation, my relationships literally went from fairy tale to Lifetime TV movie, like that. Both of them. There was no devalue stage done to my face. However, I still had the night terrors. I still had the anxiety, the depression. I couldn't function. I couldn't quite make sense of it. But it was so traumatic after the breakup, after the truth started coming out, after the smear campaigns, after all of it, the flying monkeys, and I'll kind of cover all this here. After all that, the breakup was so traumatic that's what was spinning me into this depression, this anxiety. I highly recommend, if you've recently broken up with one, if you're feeling this way, get to the doctor, make a doctor's appointment. Tell them that you just got out of this really traumatic relationship, that you're concerned, that you're feeling very depressed, or that you're feeling very anxious. See if they can prescribe something for you, depending on what your feelings are about taking medication. I strongly wish I would have gotten on an anti-anxiety medication and an antidepressant years ago. It's life-changing. Don't put yourself, it's hard enough to go through something like this. Like, you get help in the areas that you can get help with, right? Like, you don't need to just suffer through this. Medication really can help. Be good to yourself. Go to the gym, go to yoga, go for walks, watch comedies. Try to get your brain off of this relationship, because you're going to be very fixated on them. It's very much like going through withdrawal, like from a drug. That's probably how you're going to feel. You're going to want to contact them so bad. And then you're probably going to feel really terrible about that. You're going to feel a lot of guilt and a lot of shame for wanting to contact this really horrid human being that's done all of these terrible things to you. So again, not uncommon to be confused about how you feel, to feel bad about missing them. Another thing that you can expect is other people are not going to understand. They're going to probably think that you just went through a really bad breakup. And especially if you didn't have a huge devaluing stage. People that have never been in any form of an abusive relationship, in their mind, abuse is only physical, and it's only a physically abusive relationship if a person really is being hit in the face and they have a black eye. Like, that's kind of, I think, when most people think of abusive relationship, that's the image that they see. So they don't associate abuse with name calling or put downs or the psychological abuse or the gaslighting or the incredible highs and lows, or the cheating, or the lying, or the stealing. All of that is different forms of abuse. There's lots of different forms of abuse. You know, there's emotional, psychological, physical, sexual, financial, sexual. Did I already say sexual? There's lots of different types out there. So most of a narcissistic relationship involves more than one form of abuse, whether or not you are aware of it. So, you know, it's hard to get the support that you're going to need from other people. For me, I was told when everything ended with Jack that basically nobody really came right out and said this, but I definitely got the vibe that they just kind of thought I was that my relationship had ended badly, and that I kind of just needed to get over it. But in my mind, it was such a mind fuck of epic proportions, because I really thought he was one of my best friends, and to go from being one of my best friends to my worst enemy, to somebody that not only did not love me, but who he didn't even like me. And I still do have my suspicions that he even had intentions of possibly killing me. So to wrap your mind around that it's crazy making, because you don't know what's real. So what I experienced after this, I think a lot of people do too, is extreme paranoia. You don't know who to trust. For me, that trust was rattled in people that had never given me reason to distrust them. I found myself really wanting to isolate. I did not want to talk to my friends. I did not want to talk to my parents or my brother, because I felt like I sounded crazy. So telling people, yeah, this wonderful guy that you just met that you thought was wonderful and we were supposed to start a business. Yeah, oh, by the way, he was sleeping with like dozens, if not hundreds of people, and I think he might have tried to kill me. That sounds crazy. People don't understand that. Even my best friend and I were talking about this the other day, and I was telling her how crazy making it is. It's like this other level. Like there's so many different levels of a mindfuck in this kind of a relationship, and one of them is after the fact and trying to explain to other people what you went through and them not believing you. And I was telling her, I said, never in a million years did I think that people wouldn't believe me, especially my friends. I didn't think that they would think I was like exaggerating or just not handling it well or whatever. And she had said, she's like, yeah, she's like, I'd never even heard a story like that before. That was so crazy. She said, I really didn't quite know what to make of it. So you're probably not going to get the support you need from people that haven't been through it. This is why I wish I would have stumbled across support groups years ago that would have helped me so much, because I did not trust myself. It took me a really long time to fully get over that relationship. Find support groups. There's a lot of them on Facebook. I'll put a link down below to mine. You can find me on my website too. I'll put that down below. So talk to other people. You will get a lot of advice. You will get a lot of people at different stages of healing. I find it's also very healing to talk to people, sort of like AA, right? Like you have these sponsors where people that have already gone through it are helping other people that are freshly in AA. So narcissistic support groups tend to be very much the same way. It's very therapeutic to be able to go back and help people that are just now finding out that they were with a narcissist. And it's sort of like, if you really want to know something, you have to teach it. And that's, I think, the added benefit of a support group is it helps you to stay no contact or gray rock if you can help other people stay no contact and gray rock, and you can be a sounding board for each other to say this is problematic behavior, or no, this is normal, or whatever. So highly recommend that. Other things you can expect to have happen, you probably having your self-esteem dramatically altered. You might feel really bad about yourself. You might think that this is somehow, somehow your fault, or it takes a long time to understand that their behavior is not a reflection of you, especially if there was a sudden discard. This is what they do, and they go from, victims are also called targets or narcissistic supply. They go from supply to supply, they drain them, they come back around. So they will move on very quickly. This is, of course, incredibly painful if you're a victim. So you might have had a 10-year relationship with them. They up and discard you. The next day, they have pictures of them and their new supply all over Facebook. They have all their pictures of you taken down. It's like you never existed, like your relationship never existed. And they're going to go to these great efforts, these great lengths to be like, look how happy I am with this new person. And you're going to start to question, maybe I was the problem. Like they seem so happy and so real, and everybody's supporting them and thinking and rallying behind them, and they seem so happy. So it's really maddening to try to figure all of that out. But in reality, they're doing that intentionally for a couple reasons. They're doing that to save their public image. They're doing that to make you feel bad because it feeds their ego knowing that you're in pain. They're doing this, it's part of a smear campaign, which you can also expect. They will, every negative thing that they told you about their ex, or people that they're no longer talking to in their life, they're going to be saying about you. So you can expect them to say some form of that you are somehow crazy, bipolar, addict, alcoholic, bad parent, neglectful spouse. I think that might be about it. So some form of that. And that's why you're going to find people that don't know you that well. And actually, that's not even true. You might even find people that are family and even friends of yours that know both of you, that all of a sudden are kind of giving you the stink eye, or they're taking the narcissist side in things. And that's why, because the narcissist has been telling them all of these things. They're using all of this victim hero speak, that they are somehow the victim of you because you're one of all these terrible things, or that they are somehow the hero, especially if they are a covert narcissist. They probably come across as incredibly charming. And this is not a coincidence, right? So this is how they're able to save their public image. So when these relationships do end like this, people are going to be more inclined to believe them because they're always working on cultivating this image, right? They're going to church, they're volunteering at their church, they're volunteering with the neighbors, they are the world's best father, the world's best dad, the world's best husband, the world's best employee, or whatever. And they're doing all of this so when they do discard you, they're emotional con artists, okay? So if you think of it like that, so when they do discard you, they've already built up this public opinion of them that they're this wonderful person, whereas normal people don't do that, right? And so people tend to either love them or hate them. Those that hate them have nothing to do with them, and that's why. So prepare yourself for a smear campaign. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do other than telling people, I know you're probably not going to believe me because he's incredibly charming, but I can guarantee you that pretty much everything that you're hearing is a lie. They are going to be, because they're going to be telling people that you are crazy, it is imperative that you don't act crazy. So they are going to be doing things, right? And it's called flying monkeys. They're going to be recruiting these other people in with their stories, who are then, like in the Wizard of Oz, they're going to turn into these flying monkeys, and then they're going to be coming after you and attacking you because God only knows what he's saying about you. And it's going to be terrible things. It could be that you're molesting your children. It could be that you're a drug addict. It could be that you beat your children. It could be that you beat him, right? So these well-intentioned people are probably going to start attacking you or attacking your character. All you can really do is just say, I don't know what he's saying, but it's not true. And you have to try to act cool, calm, and collected. So if you act crazy, it just reinforces to everybody else that you indeed are crazy, because that's what he's been telling them. You can expect hoovering. This is when the narcissist will come back. It generally happens in the first year. It's when he's drained his other source of supply for whatever, food, clothing, sex, shelter, money, public image, status, and then he's going to make his way back around to whoever else he can get supply from. That's generally the previous victim. It doesn't necessarily have to happen right away, and it could happen decades after you break up with a narcissist. The last feeling that you might have is shame. It's not uncommon for victims to feel really embarrassed that they were in a relationship like this. You may feel like you don't want to talk about it. You may feel really angry. Anger is a huge one. Rage. You will probably feel rage. That's normal. It takes a while to move past that. Again, these are all great things for you to bring up in support groups with people that have been there and they've worked through all of this, or they are working through all this, and they can give you pointers. So with hoovering, you really need to go no contact, go gray rock. Do not fall for it. There's a video I did, I will link to, on the top 12 most common hoovers. A hoover is a way that they try to suck you, like the Hoover vacuum, suck you back into a relationship. Do not fall for it. They are highly manipulative, and they will say anything in order to get their way back into your life to drain you some more for some more forms of supply. So that is what you can expect. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, let me know. My info is down below. I will see you soon. Okay.